Good Saturday afternoon. I typically like to pick music that either matches the subject matter or I just like to play in the background and the subject matter is not so negative that I want to associate music I admire to the subject. So today I've just got on some classical music because I honestly have no opinion on classical music either way. I'm not a classical head. So over the last week, I've, and I will do this with you, my friends. I will delve into the darkness with you if you ever need someone to do that, because I'm not afraid of it. So apparently, in Texas, there were like 9 women who had to carry inviolable dead babies to term and give birth to them because doctors don't understand the law in Texas of when it's medically necessary to be allowed to give a woman an abortion in after how many ever weeks, I think 6 maybe, whatever the number is, without the risk of being thrown in prison. So that's why they're afraid to perform these procedures on women. And they had several women testify, and one of the women, the baby had some kind of encephaly, like the baby didn't have a head bones. So the baby wasn't going to live, and she wanted to abort, but she couldn't get an abortion. And she ended up having to have this baby who struggled for 4 hours to breathe. And the whole time, she's begging this baby to forgive her when it wasn't her. It was the abusive, cruel state. That baby suffered child abuse, and she suffered abuse, and she suffered abject cruelty because the United States hates women. Men hate women, the US hates women. I know other countries all over the world hate their women, but I live here in the United States, so I'm going to talk about the United States, not other countries. How do you know we're hated? All these measures to take all of our rights away, for one thing. Even though we are more educated than men are, we have better paying careers than men do, we consume more, we buy more than men do. Still against us. Men hate us. And who compromises the majority of the government? Men. I'm not going to name drop the band, but let's just say there was this band that I admired the MTV videos back in the day, and I admired the woman musician in the band. And then fast forward till now, a couple of years ago, I got the Amazon Music, the paid app, and of course it's got an algorithm, so it'll guide you to, well, we want you to listen to this album, listen to that album. So I started catching up on all of this group's music that I had missed back in the day, and realizing it was brilliant. So one day I was just in a deep dive into Reddit and like getting really like cloudy, like dark thoughts. So I said, let me palate cleanse, or so I thought. Find that band's videos on YouTube, watch some of their old videos from back in the day, and of course I had to click on the comment section, which you shouldn't do if you value your mental health. However, I did it because I figured, oh, what can anybody say about that's dark and bad other than that band sucked? Because obviously some people think this band's great, some people think this band sucked, and, everybody has their musical opinion. Only to find about some comment for some guy that had to be 50 effing years old, not like a 19-year-old that's not over locker room talk, saying something, comment about how big she opens up her mouth, and it's like, so basically sexualizing this woman. And I was like, well, you pillock, you would have to open up your mouth a singing, you dildo. The comment I responded to was like 4 years old, so I doubt he even saw my reply to him. But that just got me thinking about how men hate us they only see us as utility objects. They see us as objects. They compare our body parts to roast beef sandwiches and to donuts, and they compare us to cars. They compare us to shoes, talk about worn through. I saw this topic and it made me really, really, really start to think. So I have a rare good man. If I didn't have James, I would not be married. But I saw this topic that just made me think this morning for a long time. It's like, so what if this scenario happened? You had to, in order for you to stay with your husband or your man, you have to leave him for the number of years that you dated the previous people and date them over again for the same number of years each. Would you do it? I don't know that I would, because those men traumatized me. So that's a very, like, most of the time I can answer a question, I just can't answer that one. It's like, okay, if I can date each one of those guys in 1 month, okay, sure. But the entire time that I dated him before, do it all over again? So this seems very disjointed, and I feel disjointed because Thursday I had allowed myself to get dehydrated, and I apparently tripped on the back porch and, like, fell on my tailbone. So I'm in a lot of pain. I don't think it's broken, but it hurts really bad. So the Homeland Security Department have the incels, like the male hate speech groups, the misogynistic groups, on their watch list, so they know these men are a danger. But let's just say I get hate speech or I get cyber stalked, which happened to me. This guy stalked me for years, and every time I'd block his profile on Facebook, he'd open up another one. And he had this page that I couldn't block him as an admin, that he's share stuff about me on it. Like, this guy was obsessed with me. Facebook would do nothing about it. And when I asked the police, because I work at the court, so I know some of the police officers, oh, that's not a crime. He's not doing anything. Unless he's actively threatening to unalive you or do some bodily harm to you, it's not a crime. So I know since then probably more and more cyber stalking become crimes, but I still don't think the law's caught up with it. But the fact that, okay, so the incel does something to you, all these rape kits collecting dust in the evidence labs that'll never get tested. Nobody will ever try to find a suspect. Nobody will ever try to because men hate us, and that's why. And I think the primary reasons, and I've said this in a previous video, primary reasons all these draconian laws want to be passed all of a sudden, where we're relegated to property, is because the men can have us back to abuse and beat and rape, because we don't have to be with them, because we make enough money to live on our own, and we don't have to be with them. We don't want to be with them. And that's making all the poor men sad. And additionally, we don't want to have the babies that are going to be the future capitalist slaves. But men hate us other than for our orifices and our abilities to cook and clean and our abilities to reproduce. And I will die on that sword, and I will pick the bear. Have a good day.